Michael, I mean, if you look at the situation in the Middle East, and excuse me for this, there is a big conflict, you know, between the Muslims and the Jews, and you know, they're not getting along very well. Now, do you see the Muslims in here having an issue, you know, you being Jewish and defending them in jails, and why would you really go and defend Muslims in jails?
I think that's a good question, because you know, even some of my clients reportedly have made, you know, some anti-Jewish remarks, or what I interpret. To be honest, I interpret them as anti-Israel remarks. And my view is that part of the heart of our problem here is not settling the Israel-Palestine issue. To me, it's really remarkable. And in this country, you can make almost no progress on that issue. I mean, the idea that, for example, the other day that the Bush administration agreed to expansion of the settlements, to me, I can't even put that into my comprehension. It's not something I can understand. I mean, how could they do something like that? And so, in my view, unless you get over that issue, I think that it's going to be less safe in the world rather than more safe. And this country has not been on the right, this administration has not been on the right side of trying to really settle that. So I look at the bigger issue. I mean, I understand why Muslim people sometimes, you know, obviously I think, particularly in the Middle East, to be opposed to the practices and policies of Israel is obviously completely legitimate right now, and that slides over into the word, instead of anti-Israel, anti-Jewish, and of course Jews aren't all the same. I mean, you know, there's groups in this city right now who oppose, you know, the policies of the Israelis in the Middle East.
Probably the most dangerous thing also is more terrorist incidents, because every act of terrorism empowers them more.
That's correct. When you want to look at why this has gotten away with in the United States, I mean, let's take Iraq. Why did 65% of the people in the United States believe that Al-Qaeda was involved with Iraq? Why did the majority believe they had weapons of mass destruction? Because when people are in fear and people were terrified after 9/11, they'll say, oh, the leader says this, we'll follow the leader. What's going to happen here? So I agree with you. If there's more incidents, it could be even worse. And of course, there's been incidents outside of the United States.
Thank you so much.
Okay, great.
Yeah, no, that was a gift.
Lewis, you've been an example to a lot of Muslims.
Well, thank you very much. You guys that you still talk to us is great. So what can I tell you?
Thanks a lot. God bless you.
السلسلة. It was built in 1973. 73 no? Let's go.
والله مؤلم جدا. تعرف أنه الشيء الذي يؤلمني أكثر من أي شيء آخر في هذا الموقع تشويه الإسلام. هؤلاء شوهوا سمعة الإسلام. والنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لما خالد رضي الله عنه قتل هؤلاء الأسارة، مباشرة قال اللهم إني بريء مما صنع خالد رضي الله عنه وعن ف
تشويه صيت الإسلام.
والله كان ينبغي للمسلمين فقط أن يقول اللهم إنا براء مما صنع هؤلاء، عن بصوت واحد مهما كان العداوة والبغض والحقد والكراهية لجرائم هذه الدولة. لأن والله أنا وقفت عند النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وما أرسلناك إلا رحمة للعالمين. وابن قيم الجوزية قال هذا الدين كله عدالة والرحمة وحكمة ومصلحة، فما خرج عن العدالة إلى الجور ليس من الدين، وما خرج من الرحمة إلى العنف ليس من الدين، وما خرج من مصلحة إلى ضدها ليس من الدين، وما خرج من الحكمة إلى ضدها ليس من الدين. هذه قاعدة أنا تمنيت كل مسلم يحفظ هذه الكلمات، أن الدين كله عدالة ورحمة ومصلحة وحكمة، وأضداد هذه الأشياء الأربع لا يتصل بالدين بالصلة. نعم. لا عملية عظيمة جدا. كيف عملية عظيمة؟
لسه شيء تنظيف ولا خلاص يبدأ بنا؟
The Arabs I know watching this are gonna say, look at Iraq. It's these cycles of violence that are just perpetuated. I think for the Arabs, there's a feeling in the Arab world that is so profound that American lives have worth and our lives don't.
Can you make that equivalence between destruction here, pain and suffering here, and at the same time, do you have to make that equivalence in your programming between what's happening in Iraq, what's happening in Palestine?
I don't think it's about equivalent in my program. I think it's if I see something like this in Iraq, I would say I would have exactly
because
the same feeling.
What they're feeling, what they are feeling is that, and this is painful for me. It's painful for me that Islam could get blamed for this. That's
Islam as opposed to just a few individuals.
Just crazy. Well, I'm not crazy. Calculated, rational beings. Hateful. That
but this is
do
what
this in the name of Islam.
The problem is that we suffer as people, millions, hundreds of millions, because of the decisions of few. That's really disturbing.
Well, that's time immemorial too.
Yeah.
This thing
in a way bothers me more than what happens in Iraq for a reason. Both of them are innocents dying, and this bothers me at the same level. But this adds to me a certain bother that it's affecting Islam. This is beyond just the human tragedy. It's into that this has come in the way between Americans understanding the real Islam. So it adds to the human tragedy.
But this is exactly what Osama bin Laden wanted to do. I mean, that's the understanding that.
Well, that's the tragedy. The wedge was the goal, and the more we allow that to happen, the more we're actually doing exactly what the individuals wanted to happen, and that is the great. I think that's the extended tragedy of an already tragic situation. I mean, we need a serious paradigm shift on this planet. This is not working, and the response. You know, you asked, do you think the Saudis can change? I mean, the question I think a lot of Saudis are asking, and a lot of Arab, can America change? You know, can America? The Europeans had a very different response. You know, most of them did not want to go to war. 1 million English people went out and protested, and you know the response in Arabic sign language. The symbol for American is this: guns blazing. You know, and that is unfortunately a lot of our response. You know, my feeling here is an immense tragedy occurred, a heinous crime, but also an immense possibility for deep introspection on behalf of this people. And I feel in a lot of ways our leadership failed to really accentuate that aspect, because it's not simply good enough to say that they just hate us.
I was talking to a young guy, and he'll be in our story, and he just said, this is horrible. You know, I says, you know, I felt like at some point I was almost sort of having to counsel him by saying, I just feel this feeling that everyone looks at us as terrorists.
Well, also 15 out of the 19 hijackers that has been repeated endless times, you know, and every Saudi, when they hear that, it's just like, you know, I just saw him physically do it. It's just, that's not us.
Question. I mean, it's like for our audience. You know, we've been doing this show to sort of bridge the gap and show, you know, like sort of the balance. What are you guys doing? I mean, as CNN or that to do the same for the people? I mean,
that's what we're coming to Saudi Arabia and trying to talking to you guys and talking to other people and trying to hear what people are saying. What's the message? I think the message is that it's like your message in a way that here, listen to these people, hear what they have to say, hear that they're normal people, hear that they have everyday issues, hear how they really feel about it, and then make your judgment on what you really think. And I think, you know, what we've heard you express, I mean, you're from where I stand, you're just like right there in the middle of Saudi society. You're the man on the street, if you will, of Saudi society. You're not telling me anything different that other people aren't telling me, and that's what's coming through. What you're telling us, to empathize, to understand, to listen to these issues. I mean, I think that's what we're doing. And you know,
did you have certain expectations before? I mean, before you visited, were you expecting something? Then you saw something different. Was it the same? I mean,
when I came in June, I came right after the day that Paul Johnson was beheaded, and I felt that I stood out. And I felt, you know, when I arrived in Riyadh, could I trust that taxi driver? Would I be safe? Yeah, would I be safe in the hotel?
What is a Saudi seeing on TV? The regular Saudi sitting in Saudi Arabia, what is he seeing? All he's seeing is the Iraqi war. He's not seeing the Jewish person who we met today, Jewish American, who is defending the Muslims in Guantanamo Bay, and who spent 2 years of his life just defending the Muslims, looking for justice. Saudis don't see that.
people in our country, when they will see the show, we will get some people who are not happy with what we're doing. They think we are, I don't know, distorted. We're distorted thinking, and we will get this, and I know we are getting this. We feel we're doing the right thing because we have to voice our opinion, and we think this is the right thing. And that's what Islam teaches us. Just go ahead and do whatever is right, and don't listen to what people are saying.
And I'm sure a lot of people are watching us right now, who are going to watch this and going to say, why didn't you go to Iraq to show all the massacres that are happening?
No, exactly.
Why
and we
are you
actually
going
were thinking about
coming here September 11th after 3 years of the incident, and you're not going to Iraq, and children are being killed until today? Why are you doing that? I know this is in the mentality of a lot of our viewers.
A lot of people are going to...
And that's why I stress to say here, in this spot, that this is a place not to remember this. This is the place to remember all civilians who have died, whether we are in New York or in Iraq. If I was in Iraq, I would mention New York. It's a principle, like Isa said.
There are plenty of people covering the situation in Iraq. You're doing something different.
We're going against the flow.
You're adding another piece. You're going against the flow.
We're going against the flow right now. I think this will be the first program that will, we're trying our best, of course, that will show a balanced view on the U.S. taking emotions aside.
Well, we're
really trying to push emotions aside.
And that's the name of the program.
That's interesting. In the balance.
In the balance, because justice, our symbol for justice in our culture as well as in the Arab world is the scales, and it's just trying to get beyond the emotion weighing that scale too heavily on one side